This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, episode 192. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. And, of course, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. My Lord and Savior, Brian with an I, Aldridge, is here. Finally, we're reunited after almost over 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since we've done a show, even though it's
been quite the ride for you.
It has been quite the ride. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Doing great. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, you can check out my blog, biteoftech.com. And then make sure you go visit our website. There we have links to our show notes. So, and we did, for those who maybe are wondering what happened last week, we did do an audio only one, and we will be uploading a video form of that has some cool footage of Nick's adventures over the last 2 weeks. And so we'll be putting one just mainly for our playlist on there, so that people that are going through and watching the history of our podcast maybe want to jump back to a previous episode, that we will have that episode 191 on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go check that out, and there is a link right now to the audio only form if you go to our website for episode 191. But we have on there also links to our Discord. So join our server for Discord, link to our Steam group, which I didn't send a notification. I'm going to do that right now as we transition. Everything is different today. Everything's not quite right. And also to our YouTube channel. So if you want to give us likes,
subscribes on
smash,
YouTube.
Hit the bell button, whatever it is today that they say to do. Do that on whatever medias that you prefer to see us on, and also our podcast. So our audio only forms, which is usually that is our main way of getting our show out. So that's why I made sure when we did episode 191, or when I did episode 191, that I made sure that we got it out through the podcast form, so people would get the notifications on their phone, they would see it and be able to give it a listen.
Yes, and I appreciate Brian doing episode 191. Maybe for people that haven't followed, I am located in Wilmington, North Carolina, which was kind of the center of news attention over the past 2 weeks or so, as we braced down for Hurricane Florence. Last night was the first night I've actually slept got a couple hours of sleep in about, I think I counted up 12 days, I think it's been, since I had like a decent night of sleep. And
we were talking about doing the show last night, and then Nick was just like, man, I gotta get some sleep.
It was just not, I've not been in good shape, but nevertheless, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it. But the Wilmington, North Carolina was kind of ground zero. Here's some video I shot right after the storm, and you can see some of the debris and whatnot hanging around on the I don't know what audio's on there, kind of hanging around there.
This is you talking.
It might be. I'm not sure what this. I had a whole bunch of video on my phone. I don't know which one this was. So yeah, after a couple days, everything's back to normal. We've got power, we've got internet. Some of the restaurants are starting to open. The grocery stores are starting to open back up. So everything's pretty much back to normal. And I could say I'm lucky. I didn't lose any property. My apartment is fine. My vehicle is fine, in good shape. So
good.
I survived the hurricane.
Yeah. So did you enjoy it? Like, being a weather nerd, was it everything that you had hoped it would be?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Which might sound kind of wrong, but it was a very interesting experience, and
for Nick, that was one of the benefits of moving down to the south, is that he was going to be able to have the opportunity to have run-ins with hurricanes. And I remember, was it last year that like it went too far south, or you were hoping that it was going to turn up towards you?
No, I don't think I was ever hoping. I mean, it's just,
not as a disrespectful thing, but if it was going to hit, like, you wanted to be around it so you could see it.
Yeah.
And so here's an opportunity that you could go through and report on it and just do all these cool things.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. that's that. So I've got to be I got to be totally transparent here. I want to be totally transparent. I have no idea what's going on. I mean, to say that I have not looked at any video game news over the past 2 weeks would be more than accurate. I mean, I haven't looked at Discord. I haven't been on Twitter. My little bit of social media has just been me posting pictures and stuff of storm things. So I listened to episode 191, which, Brian, I want to thank you very much for jumping in on such short notice with that and producing the show by yourself, which is not an easy feat for anybody that does a podcast, talking for an hour and 5 minutes by yourself. First of all, you're a little crazy, and second of all, it's not the easiest thing to do. So I want to thank you for keeping the streak alive, so we can accurately say we have done a show every week for the last 192 weeks. That's still an accurate statement.
Yep. And one thing that I did learn from that is I have much more fun doing the show with you.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Thanks, Brian.
And so that was one thing, is like, if we were going to have another week of not doing it, I was like, oh man, I wasn't looking forward to the next episode, because it's much more enjoyable having where I can bounce ideas off you. I can hear your input on it. It makes what it does for everyone else listening to the show, I'm not sure. But for me, making the show, it's much more fun to have you there. So,
oh, thanks, Brian. So what did I miss? I mean, so we had news-wise, but like community-wise, what did I miss over the past 2 weeks or so?
We didn't really do a game of the week, because I've started playing hockey again. So I guess here's some news for me.
Oh no!
Remember, because of my surgery,
yes,
I haven't been able to play hockey. So I got these new pair of ice skates over for Christmas. Have never been able to skate on them, and then I found out last week, it's like, oh, you have a game on Sunday, and like I have never even stepped on these skates, never put them on, never had them. Actually, I did put them on. I walked around the house one circle, not around the outside of the house, but the inside, just to see how they felt. But I've never skated on them, and so Thursday night I went to a thing that was like you can pretty much just kind of skate around and practice with a puck by yourself. I did that Thursday so that I would know how to stand on them, make sure I didn't fall on my face. And then I did a pickup game on Friday night with kind of a casual pickup game. And then I had my first real game on Sunday where I felt like I was going to die, but I made it through it and we won. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. So I officially started playing hockey again. So I have a game every Sunday.
Cool. Yeah.
So that is good. I've started going to the gym because I got to strengthen up my arm. I realized that my game, like I've lost so much strength in my upper body. I was like, I got to go to the gym.
Yeah, playing video games and podcasting.
Sitting on my couch, playing PS4 and things like that and playing video games has not helped me.
Doing a podcast?
Keep my strength up. Doing a podcast, yeah. That's one of the most extenuating things I do throughout the week. Yeah, that's a problem. So
all the clicking your mouse, you don't burn calories or whatever for typing or clicking. There's got to be some calories burned.
So yeah, so I do so using my mouse, my arm is stronger on my right arm, but I know that PH will take that.
Is that what
go the wrong way with
your mouse?
Yeah, so I won't even talk about that. So here's something that I know that they will have a field day with. So I was getting massage, right?
Oh my God.
A normal, legal US massage, not an Australian massage. And she said, and I know this is going to be taken the wrong way, but she says, your right arm has a lot more muscles than your left arm. And I was like, yeah. And it's not from computers. It's because I play hockey left-handed, which actually uses the strength of your right hand. So someone who plays, let's say you're left-handed and you play hockey left-handed, you're actually using your right arm's strength. So you're generally a weaker player doing that. So I'm right-handed, but I play left-handed, so that I actually use my dominant arm's strength. So my right arm does have much more muscle, and just because I've played all my life, and so over time, my right arm is much stronger. Yeah. Thanks for the music. I can hear that. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, so that is the totally legitimate reason that I know can be taken totally out of context of my arm.
Detective Brian on the case. All
that's
right.
the only reason.
Well, we've got a lot of news. Of course, last week you talked about the big change with Z1, and as the weeks progress, we'll talk about that a little bit more. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it this week. I've got opinions, but we've got a lot of other news to get into. So you talked about that last week. Obviously, big stuff coming out of the Daybreak / what is it? Not Nat Geo, Nagio team, whatever the two collectives are called, whatever the hell they're doing over there.
Something mobile,
yeah,
which is kind of weird.
Yeah, so we'll continue
It's a
to
mobile development company.
Yeah, which is a little odd, but we'll continue to bring you up to date with that as things happen. Well, let's see where to start here, Brian. We got a lot of topics on the board.
Let's talk a little bit about Twitch.
Okay.
And some things happening with Twitch mainly in China, because China, I don't know if you've noticed, seems to drive a lot of companies and just kind of help their decisions along the way. U.S. has many less people, and especially much less of a population that plays games or buys electronics in the same way. So
now this also has to do with the government rule in China. They are they are a communist country, and the government pretty much has full control over everything. As in,
so they want to help govern their people in a way that morally they think is correct, right? I guess that's
whatever rationale they use.
So what they did is Twitch had an app, and they had a presence in China. And they said that over the last month that their downloads were starting to surge, and people were really taking on to the Twitch site and the app. And then earlier this past week, the website's no longer accessible in China, and it disappeared from the Apple Store. So this seems to be that they have shut down Twitch inside of China. And I'm wondering if a little bit of it has to do with this next thing that I put in here as well, but they've also made it illegal to do ASMR. And if you don't know what ASMR is, if you've ever browsed around Twitch and you notice usually a girl, whispering into some fake ear microphones, talking to them, saying silly things, tickling them, rubbing fabrics and whatever onto the ears, that is ASMR. Yeah, they're just doing stupid stuff like that, whispering into it and rubbing the ears, and it's a weird subset of the internet. I'm sure people in our community love that stuff.
Now there are other streaming sites. Twitch was not the most popular streaming site in China. There's YY and Panda TV,
QQ and QQ is that their messaging?
QQ is a message. There's YY, which is one of their streaming sites, and then Panda TV, Panda.tv, PandaTV.com, whatever it is. There's two decent sized streaming sites over there in China that I think are the most popular sites over there. So and Twitch was not not that necessarily that's relevant, but it's not like Twitch is in the U.S.
But they seem to be doing a crackdown on streaming in general. First, I mean, they blocked the ASMR.
Well, Twitch is a U.S. company. I mean, Amazon's a U.S. based company, and
but they're just like Daybreak did. Everybody wants to have a presence there because there's so much money.
They can get absolutely.
They get instantly millions of views, millions of downloads just from like even a not so popular. If you take off, I mean, then we see where you get 100 million people playing one game when when people in China are playing. And then as soon as they drop off, it goes down to 15 or 20,000.
Yeah.
So big difference. And so their pornography office is cracking down on ASMR. And then they've also blocked Twitch. And so it will be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks, what other sites may be affected, what other things, because obviously there's something they're concerned with. Something they're trying to prevent, or a direction that they're trying to stop that's happening in China.
And I don't think you brought this up in last week's episode, but Jace Hall made many references to decisions that they were making about the future of Z1 or whatever they're calling the game now, based around China, specifically getting rid of kill in the name, King of the Kill. That Adam Clegg literally said the reason that they were, or Jay said, excuse me, the reason they're changing the name is because of having the word and kill in the name in China was not a thing that they could do. So,
and that's their biggest. That is their biggest client for sure. The most people play that game out of China. And if you look,
I looked at the current players this morning, like 9:00 Eastern. There was the most people playing all day, and it was.
If you want to pull up that tweet, there's a tweet under the H1Z1 section where it says China, and I think that'll kind of play into this as well. This is something that Jace had tweeted over this last couple of days, and it talks about or it shows what is happening in a
rave
club
hall
down. Yeah, so this is a nightclub in China, and I don't know how in the world this plays into it. Like, it just seems odd to me.
Jace, I love you.
And then it has the King of the Kill logo up there on the big screen while everybody's dancing and going nuts.
Yeah.
So I have no clue how that. I mean, it could be somebody like tweets their site or something happens and who knows how that gets up there. Or the DJ loves playing King of the Kill. I have no clue. You wouldn't see that here. I can tell you that.
You may see that at the esports arena in Vegas.
Fortnite?
No, you could see that. You saw that at PAX.
Not in a nightclub though. Like,
in Vegas,
those were not computer convention people. I can promise you that.
What are you talking about? Everybody at PAX was normal. There's no computer people there. So yeah, the whole China thing is interesting. We've taken a lot of heat on this show in the past over talking about China and region blocking and whatnot. But and here's the thing. I want to just say this up front. I don't have an issue with China at all, but I do have an issue when American games and American companies pedal towards China and then screw the U.S. consumer, which in this case is exactly what has happened with H1Z1. Decisions were being made and
purely on China.
And guess what? It's their right to do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but these aren't.
The thing, I think the beneficial thing to our clients, to the United States, would be to make a version for China.
Well, and that's what
play.
But that's
we
what
talk about that a lot.
That's what big companies do. Activision and Treyarch they have a Call of Duty version that they keep up only in China. It's literally called Call of Duty. And I don't know what they do with it, but it's a Chinese only version of the game. And then for the rest of the world, they release whatever the new COD, Black Ops 4, I think is the new one coming out. That will not come out in China.
All right. So can I get a little prediction from you, since we're kind of rolling into a little bit of the H1Z1?
Do you have a book ready to go to jot this down?
Okay, actually, no. I want to get more of your opinion.
Okay. Yes.
Mainly your opinion, but I think it's an opinion on what you think is going to happen going forward.
Yes, sir.
So with H1Z1 or Z1 Battle Royale,
which, by the way, that's the official name. It's Z1 Battle Royale is becoming the new name.
Yeah, Z1 Battle Royale is now the name. Do you think that part of this change is going to totally accommodate kind of what they did before to China? Do you think they're going to start realizing that their biggest client and everything comes back to China, and all this soon and everything? He gets like millions of hits on pages about him in China, millions and millions instantly. Do you think they're going to look at the numbers and realize, okay, maybe there's like 30,000 people that play this game regularly in the United States. There's millions that would be willing to play this game in China and go full bore China.
They should. It would make the smart business thing would be to do that. I mean,
it seems like he's really pushing the American. He could almost not even bother with all this Z1, whatever, pushing it to America. They could totally cater to China and not need any of the money from America. It'd probably save them time and money too.
But I think, that's my point a little bit, is they can do that, right?
But right now he's all talking like, this is for you guys, and he's saying it to us in America. He's, oh, we're doing this for you. This is all for you. I really have a feeling that when the buck is what makes some decisions a little bit later, that it's going to be, okay, this is for China. He's going to be saying the exact same thing to China here in a couple months. We're doing this for you guys. We love you guys. You guys are the best. And all these, and we're going to start seeing China being the emphasis of most of the changes that are being made. I have that strong sense because money-wise, it makes sense.
And here's the thing, Brian. I don't have a problem with that. And let me tell you, I don't. And here's the reality: if it is true, and we don't know this, I mean, this
is opinion. That's why I said I wanted to get your opinion.
We can pontificate on what the actual reason is or isn't. If China is I don't know what, let's use 80%. 80% of the player base is in China, then they should absolutely tailor the game towards the Chinese audience or whatever it is. They absolutely should, if that's where all their players are and that's where they're making all their money. They absolutely should do that. Now, I am of the opinion when you do that, you lose the opportunity to grow your U.S. player base because a lot of those decisions hurt the U.S. players. Case in point, no region lock. Case in point, cheaters and hackers running everywhere. I mean, that was literally the biggest issue. We had the developers on the show, episode 13 of our show. However many weeks ago that was, 180 weeks ago, and I asked them blatantly about region locking, and they just were not interested in talking about it.
Yeah,
because it hurt, and because it hurts the U.S. players. We've talked about this many times in the past, and believe me, we are not the only source of this. You can read article after article after article about how cheating is a cultural thing in China. It's not a surprise. It's not a secret. Oh, it's not racist. It's the way it is. It's a culture thing. Everybody cheats. It's not, I don't particularly care. So
but can I break down for 1 second here in a minute why?
Go for it.
Because so the reason is if you look at a more of a socialist communist type of country, they have a little bit different values than what you're raised with if you're grown up in the United States. For them, the reason that there's such a concern right now about people stealing patents and technology is because in China, they view that they view that technology and patents don't belong to an individual. That an idea cannot belong to an individual because of this whole kind of communist outlook of it's the collective, it's the people that matter. So ideas belong to the people. And so when they look at all these different things with cheating, it's whatever it takes to get ahead and to be the best. They want China to be the best, and they view that, and that's one reason why they view beating Americans in these games at any cost as the primary objective, because it's not whether you did it honestly, it's whether or not you did it at all. And so by whatever means, they will want to be first. And to them, it's not immoral. It's not a negative thing. They view it as a positive aspect that by any means they will be first because it makes the people look better. It makes China number one. I mean, that's the whole China number one thing. They want to be China. They want to be number one. And so they will do that by any means possible. We look at it and say, but you guys cheat, so it's meaningless.
But hold on.
We view it as under that aspect. They do not view it that way.
But hold on. Let me stop you 1 second. I don't care what they want to do. If they want to cheat and do whatever, that's fine. They need
to do it all over there, though. It needs to not affect us.
Absolutely, and that's why I said that I do not. If the main market for this game is in fact China, for H1Z1 is what we're talking about. Let me throw my little lower third up on here. If that's what the market is going to be, then they absolutely should go all in. I mean, make as much money as possible, go all in. I mean, that's the beauty of being a free company and being allowed to do what you want. But you let that spill over into the U.S., which is what they've previously done, and it ruins your U.S. market. And again, maybe they don't want a U.S. market. I mean, I don't particularly care if they do or don't want a U.S. market. I mean, if they want a U.S. market, they need to separate the games per se and have region locking over there or region locking wherever and just do it that way and be done with it. But you can't have XXQYZY3 clipping through buildings and flying around killing you and screaming in Chinese after the fact and say, oh, there's no problem here. Oh, there's no problem here. I mean, it's BS. Everybody knows it. And again, I don't fault them for trying to grow their player base in China, because it seems like that's where the game is sure as hell is a lot more popular there than it is here.
Yeah,
because I don't think Fortnite's very popular in China. I don't even know if the game's in China, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I know Tencent owns part of
I don't know that
Epic.
they've got a publisher there.
Well, I mean, Tencent owns part of Epic, so they should. But I mean, I don't see Fortnite as a U.S. thing.
Yeah,
I mean, people.
I would see them possibly creating a version for China that we would very little know about. I mean, I could see Epic doing that. Them creating something not called Fortnite, something in Chinese that makes sense to them, and having a game that's tailored for them, and then keeping it away from the United States. And I haven't heard that they're doing that, but that's the kind of company that would do that. And I think that that's the right way to do it. That's the mindset and the way that a AAA studio handles that problem, so that their players, because they try to keep them separated. Because we've seen what happened. It happened in PUBG. It's happened in H1Z1. All these games where you let these two communities mix, it's like oil and water. They do not mix.
Absolutely. And they can't.
There is not a positive experience. I don't know what the experience is for China. I don't know how they view us. I think they find it kind of funny because they're the ones cheating and having the upper hand in that way. And we're running around yelling at them saying, stop it. I think they kind of find it funny. But it's not a positive experience for us. And these are supposedly American companies making on games for American players. Well, at that point, you're not making it for American players. You're making it for them. And we're kind of the fodder for it. We're the ones that are keeping them entertained in the game. And I just don't think that that's the honest way to do it.
I'm all for, they need to do and make whatever decision is right for them monetarily. That's what this all comes down to is money, as it should. I don't have any problem with that. You're not going to sit here and see.
And we have the right to make that decision based on that. Whatever decision they make, if they make a game that is tailored to China, then we know, okay, that's fine.
I don't care.
Z1 Battle Royale is a Chinese game. Let them play it. We'll play. We got plenty of other games to play. I mean, that's the thing. But don't come to us and say, "Oh no, this is for you. This is for you." If it turns out we're looking at it and say this is totally for China, don't turn around and say, "No. This is for you. This is for you. We're working on it. We're trying to fix it. This is for you guys." Don't say that. Just be honest. I'd rather have a company be honest with us and not lie. Say, you know what? China funds our company. China is the reason that we're able to keep developers hired and do all this. If that's the case, then just be forward with it. Say this is what it is. So they do have a roadmap for Z1 Battle Royale. I keep putting on their H1Z1. I'm just not used to putting Z1 Battle Royale yet. But on here, it's got some of the, first of all, the top. This is a Trello that they put out.
It's public too.
Yes, so anyone can access this. We'll have a link to our show notes to be able to get to this. But they have a list of the top issues on the live server. And then they have the list of issues that they've corrected in the 1.0 release that was done, actually done 2 days ago now. And then they'll have for 1.1, here's what we're planning on putting in there for 2.0, which I don't know, that'd be October 17th of 2018. It's crazy. So you're telling me they're jumping from 1.1 to 2.0 in a month, in 2 weeks. I mean, that's what they have on here. They must be doing they're going to beat up 14 dot whatever here soon. But they put on here September 19th is when they did the 1.0. October 3rd is when they're looking at doing the 1.1. October 17th is when they're looking at doing the 2.0. So what they're going to be doing for this next one is having the season 2 reward items in there, having an engine update, so getting FPS improvements, which have they not been working on that the whole time? It's like now that, okay, do you get the sense that they were told just not to do anything for a long time? Because if they all of a sudden just have, we have these updates that we can do that are going to instantly improve frames.
I mean, here's the thing, Brian. There was clearly a process of them, as Jace made clear, there was a process of them doing this switch and this new company taking over the PC assets and Daybreak holding on to the PS4 assets of the game, and some of the developers being moved from Daybreak over to this new kind of
But it
transition.
really seemed like from that stream, though, that they were discussing that there was a lot of holding back and a lot of restrictions placed on them by Daybreak.
Well, I don't know if it was being placed on Daybreak or if there were just restrictions being put in place while this transition was going on, which, I mean, something like this doesn't happen overnight. And so this is something that's probably
been stewing for 6 months.
Well, I don't even know if it's been 6 months, but, I said this before and I'll say it again. If this game has any shot of rising to the level of games like Fortnite and PUBG, I still believe, and people will rag on me, I still believe Jace Hall could do it.
Yeah.
If I'm not saying it's going to, but if there's a chance of it happening, I think Jace can do it. Here's the one thing I like about Jace. There's a lot I don't like about Jace. And I don't know personally, but just the way that he appears to be a doer.
Mm-hmm.
He appears to be a doer. He knows how to get things done. But previously at Daybreak, there was never a doer. John Smedley was a doer.
Smedley, yeah.
Smedley was a doer.
No Smedley, and that was he was the one that said this, make this happen. Here's what I want. Let's make it happen. Yeah. Nobody in the company was doing that until now. And obviously that company needs this because I've talked about the culture of this company before and my perspective of what I see as far as a negative culture in Daybreak it's been at least a year now that I've talked about it. There was definitely a culture of, I'm just going to do the minimum to get by. I can't really put an idea forward, of something I would think would improve the game. I'm just going to do what I'm told because it sounds like the people up top were not open to ideas from people below because they were saying, because just from their discussion that they did on that video, it sounded like, hey, I've wanted this. You had them saying, hey, we wanted this for a long time, but we couldn't do it before. We couldn't. It sounded like they were very restrictive and saying nothing changes. Like, just keep going forward, do your job, and shut up.
And unfortunately, what could have been happening is they could have been running into analysis paralysis, which is something that tends to happen at companies where they were just I mean, I don't know, everything they were doing was all about it's a great idea, let's do that, and then it gets kind of pushed along the side. Oh yeah, it's a great idea, let's do that.
But the thing is, there needs to be someone that's coordinating all the people doing that one thing. It's not just, it's not that's a good idea. Okay, now it's up to that one person who's got a task of a whole list of other things to do. And that's a great idea. Go ahead and do it. Okay, well now he has to figure out how to do that all by himself because he doesn't have the resources or people, the ability to tell people to do it with him.
Yeah.
There has to be a person in charge who says, we want to have this happen. All right. You and you are assigned to make it happen. You can't have the programmers making those decisions. It has to be someone up top who has the ability to assign resources. And it sounds like that they had a lack of leadership of someone who coordinated all this because nothing was really changing. It was just, let's continue on the pace we're going right now. And a lot of things didn't get fixed and they just kept going down the same roads that they knew were going to end badly. But who has the authority to make the change to make it not go that way?
And that's why I think Jace now, from the stream a couple of weeks ago, he appears to pretty much be in charge and is going to have free reign to kind of do what he wants, which I think is a good thing because I mean, even if you don't like the idea and the direction he's taking the game, which I'm not saying I don't, I do like a lot of, I listened to the podcast, Brian, from last week when you covered a lot of this stuff. I like a lot of the ideas, the limited time weapons that are available, not based on time, but based on how many of them exist and how many of them are opened. I mean,
so the 10, maybe 10 that are,
yes, the limited
legendaries that are available in that when they're gone, the case, it creates a sense of variance, right? Things change.
But I'm saying I like a lot of the ideas, right? A lot of these ideas are good. But even if you don't like the ideas, you've got to give him credit for, frankly, having the balls to just do it. I mean, just try it. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens?
The game was already tanking.
But see, that's the thing. Is it's like what at this point they've got what 5,000 or 6,000 concurrent players. Just give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like they're not gonna lose their shirts if something doesn't work out. They just need to give it a try.
Says, how does that make the game better? And it's not so much about it's about bringing players back. It's about being able to fill lobbies, because the biggest thing that really killed them is they cannot fill a lobby. And that was really where I noticed there was a problem. Went in there and no one was talking about it. I went into a lobby and saw on the West Coast prime time afternoon in the United States, you could not fill a lobby. You'd sit there and you could not fill a lobby. That is a problem. This kind of game cannot have that happen. So they need people playing so that the lobbies are instantly filled. And then they need to make it to where the game is fun. And I think they're trying to get it back to when people seem to enjoy playing the game.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And saying making the game better. I mean, in my opinion, the game itself isn't that bad. But if you don't have a full lobby and you don't have a player base, you can't play the game.
We tried to do it as a group for a game night
2 weeks ago.
And we couldn't fill the lobbies. I mean, remember when we did it? Well, we did it right after when we really started noticing things were a problem, and we did it for a game night. And this one was more like a couple months ago that we did it.
Oh, you're not
the one I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
And we went in there and sat in lobbies, and what was it, 1 hour or something that you sat in a queue?
A queue, yeah.
One time, just to see if it would ever fill. That is a problem. You can't have that. Where these other games are instantly filling lobbies, games are quick, and they're now trying to figure out, well, how can we make games even quicker? Let's come up with game modes that create a 10-minute game. They create a 15 to 10-minute game. People want that. People are tired of the PUBG 45-minute game, the original King of the Kill 45-minute game. They don't have time for that, especially when you die instantly with the first combat that you actually find somebody. Fortnite kind of spoiled everybody. You get to a point where, man, you can land in a really populated spot. You can do some quick action. You may live through it, but generally you're getting consistent gunfights every couple minutes if you're moving from town to town. And I think that's what people expect now from these games, not hiding in a bush.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I mean, we'll talk about Blackout here in a little while. Same thing, quick games. I mean, that's what people are going for, and I think they can do it. I think Z1 Battle Royale can do it. Jace, I think, has got some good ideas, got some decent ideas. The question is, what kind of resources does he have behind him? Can he actually do it? I don't know. I think it's yet to it's remain to be seen yet. But I've been seeing a lot more people talking about H1Z1 the past couple of weeks. So we'll talk about current players here at the end of the program. But overall, I think there's a slight chance that they could get it done, and they can return H1Z1 back to a competitor in the space. Are they going to overtake PUBG? No. They're going to overtake Fortnite? No. But they can be a competitor. They can absolutely be a competitor. You look at games like Realm Royale. They don't have a massive player base, but they're absolutely a competitor in the space. They've got a solid player base of people that are playing that game. So they just need to place themselves as that. And I think they can. I really do. And I hope they do. I mean, Christ, I really hope they do well.
Well, I think that what they're trying to do as well is one thing I noticed, and he put 2 patches out. It kind of confused me, but he says solos, duos, fives will support 150 players again. But then there's the patch, the hot fix they put out the next day. It said 100 player cap fixed. I don't know what that means.
It's 100. There was a 100 player cap. It's been fixed. It's now 150.
Okay. Hot fix last night. Yeah. So, that could be the other thing, is trying to get a lot of players. That could kind of cut that downtime some of having 150 players on the map. You're going to have some action, because I think that when you have a large map where, even especially now with the lobbies not filling all the way, but having it to where, okay, you can have 150 players, and then they start tuning that gas ring to be smaller with the 75 to 99 player range. I think they're trying to create those shorter games. Okay, if we don't have as many people in the lobby, shrink the gas size down, let's, and make the game faster that way. If you have a lot of people are not going to care that it's a little bit longer game because they've had a couple of encounters in the very beginning because there's so many players. People that was kind of the PUBG thing that I think really hurt it in the long run was okay, we're going to loot for 10, 15 minutes. Then maybe we'll have an encounter. And then we'll probably run around for 10, 15 more minutes while the rings close. I think that Jace, I think he's really trying to come up with how can we combat that and not be like PUBG. I think PUBG is now with their modes and trying to come up with ways to get away from it. But when this game originally came out, people were accepting of that. That was normal. With all these other BRs coming out that are quick, like they've got to adapt, or else people are gonna be like, man, I just don't have time to play that anymore. Or if they're trying to convert this over to mobile, people don't have time, or maybe the cell phone will not connect for a full 45 minutes of consistent internet, or their battery will die after 45 minutes playing this game. Like they can't have a 45-minute game on a mobile. So I think they're really trying to figure out how to get it to where it's packaged.
I don't think we have all the information yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just kind of we're waiting. There's a roadmap. There's a plan in place. This time they actually appear they're going to be public and open with everything. I mean, there's an article right here, or not article, a Trello page right here with all the information laid right out. It has been a very long time since we've seen this company be so public with things.
And consistent. I mean, this thing is, if they keep following this Trello, look at how many times they said, oh, we're going to do a roadmap. We're going to do this. We're going to post here. We're going to do this every week. We kept hearing, oh, this will happen every week. And then how many weeks would it go? Do you remember, like, how many weeks do you estimate each of those things would last before they lost interest?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember.
From what I remember is like 3 to 4 weeks was kind of the max. You would see the roadmap lasted 3 to 4 weeks and then they dropped it. Posting consistently on a certain account on Reddit lasted 3 or 4 weeks and then they dropped it. Like nothing lasted over a month before because someone didn't want to be bothered with dealing with it. And so if they can keep this going the whole time and say, hey, this is where you go and you'll know it's coming. Here's where you go and you know what we fixed. Here's where you go and you can give suggestions. If they can do that over a long period of time, people will feel like there's consistent progress and they'll be more willing to be like, okay, because before they'd say, oh, this is never going to happen because history wise, it never did. Like all these things were promised to us. Nothing ever happened. We don't trust you. We don't believe you anymore. I think this is a good way for them to build that trust back.
Yes, absolutely. And they will. I really do think they will. I don't know. I hope they can do it. I really do. I mean that totally sincerely. I absolutely hope that they can make this happen.
Locklore, he says he doesn't see the entry that says apologize to Nick and Brian for past disrespect on the roadmap.
I see that right here. It's under top issues in live service. What are you talking about? No, in all seriousness though, I'm hoping that we haven't done it yet. I've been a little busy the last couple weeks. But I think we should reach out. I bet you we can get Jace on here to talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
I bet we can. I mean, it's just I'm interested. You know, we've heard so many. I mean, he's not a dummy. He gets it. We've been lied to, and lied to, and lied to, and lied to. Time and time.
Well,
and
the
time
thing
and
is,
time
he's been on the outside. I think that he felt like he was lied to. I mean, if you look at, he got into a business deal with Daybreak.
Yeah.
He got into a thing where he was going to be doing this whole tournament and streaming and all this stuff, and then they pulled a Daybreak on him, and pretty much the whole game dumped. Right. Yeah. I think for him, he felt kind of cheated as well. I mean, he was about to lose out on a huge investment because of Daybreak and the way that Daybreak does things. So I think this is him coming in and saying, you know what, you're not going to do that to me. I'm taking this over. You guys suck. Let's go. And I think that's kind of the attitude you need to have with Daybreak at this point.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think let's go to kind of a little bit of a natural transition here. There's a game that I've been playing just the last 2 days that I know some people, they look at it and say, hey, here's a game that's coming from Korea, not North Korea, South Korea. And it's why would I want to play it? And so this is a Korean game, a game from Asia that Americans are starting to play. But we have a trailer here, let's do that as an intro because it kind of gives some of the lore of the map, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. But this is Ring of Elysium.
Give me a minute here to get this queued up. Having some.
Yep. And this is one that is a BR game. It has there's some very unique concepts in it, and I was kind of surprised. I've heard about it. You say, oh, this is a Korean game. It's going to have all these weird aspects to it. Actually, very well done.
All right, well, let's do it.
So,
I've been the sheriff of Mount Diani for about 30 years now, and this is the worst cold wave I've ever seen. We've evacuated most everybody, but some tourists are still stranded. Tried to stay and help them, but they're scattered all over the map. It's impossible to find them all.
Nobody but me. I would never call it enemy. He's too bad God on his nature. She's too good God I need. I got my own nature. She's too good God I need.
There's only one rescue flight left. No way can it save everybody. God knows what happens to
but both are the side.
This helicopter will only stay for a short period of time. There are 4 seats. Please board as soon as possible.
Monster. Bye bye. Got my own monster.
All right. Well, boy, I haven't seen anything about this. This looks interesting. At first, it looked like a snowboarding game on the PlayStation 2. I couldn't really tell what I was looking at. But so this is kind of this Dead by Daylight battle royale thing.
So the whole concept is there's like cold is coming in, like there's a cold wave coming in.
Oh, a circle of
to
cold.
This town.
Gotcha.
Yes, and so rather than going gas circles or anything like that, zones start freezing, and so you have to try to get to a zone that hasn't frozen over yet. And there's one rescue helicopter that's going to come and be able to take out 4 people. So if you're in a 4-man group. They're able to rescue 4 people. So your goal is to be those people that make it onto that helicopter. So by any means, kill everyone else. You get to that helicopter, you get extracted. It does have hang gliding in there. It has snowboarding, which actually has really good physics. I mean, that could be kind of its own game by itself. It has rock climbing in there. It was made, I think. This is developed and published by Tencent.
Oh no!
And so it actually uses their Tencent anti-cheat. And so it loads. This is the first game I see that uses their anti-cheat. I have not seen blatant hacking in it yet, and I'm not playing with a bunch of Asian players. The people that, from what I can tell, I play against are all in the United States. So they're actually, being that they don't feel like they have to be totally politically correct with us. They're just like, okay, you're in America, you get your own you play with American players. Like, what do we care? They're based out of Asia. They have their own servers. They play by themselves. And so I've not seen hacking in this yet. I haven't seen anybody speed hacking. I've not seen obvious aimbots. It's got all the features of PUBG. The environment's really nice. It feels much more smooth. It seems like it was made as a mobile game, but then they just upped the resolution and everything and put it as PC, and it plays better and looks just as good, at least, as PUBG.
Boy, does this have
As
a
a
lot of
mobile
people
game goes
playing.
up.
It's got 30,000 people playing it right now.
Yeah, it's a free-to-play game,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen anything in here yet. You can get the Founders Pack, which is $2.99, but I haven't seen them throwing. You can get crates, you can buy, that kind of stuff, but I haven't seen, oh, you have to buy this and this and this and this and this. It's you can play the game other than some skins that you can try to do. It's the game, and it was a lot more fun than I expected. Actually, the person that got me onto it was ManPawns.
Oh, really?
He said, this is my new favorite BR. He's like, this is the only BR that I want to play because you're not dealing with constant hackers. It's very consistent and smooth. One thing that they've done really well is to kind of get the RNG out of it. They've taken so much of the RNG, which frustrated us with the landing. You actually choose your starting place.
Oh, that's
so you
cool.
pick exactly on the map. So you can see where everyone else is chosen. So you can either jump onto a hotspot purposely, or you can pick a spot that's far away from everybody, but you see the layout and you can have a general idea of how everyone else is laid out on the map. You then started in that zone. There's lots of vehicles. There's snowboards that you can travel around on faster. There are the loot is it's very consistent. You're not going to go through a whole town like you did in PUBG and not find a good gun. 3-4 houses, you get good guns, because it's not about RNG. It's not about having randomness to where, oh, I just got screwed because there was no good guns. Like in PUBG, there was no good gun for this whole town. We just looted. It's not like that. They want you to be able to pick your zone, get a good weapon from the get-go, and win by skill, not by you got screwed by the game engine or the number generation. So I personally like that more, and I think that's why ManPawns likes it more, because he can actually use his skill to be consistently, maybe winning games, rather than people doing stupid stuff and having to deal with fighting the game as much as you are fighting the players. So
Yeah.
Ring of Elysium, it is free. I wasn't sure for Game of the Week. There's a lot of good options for Game of the Week right now.
Well, we're not going to do we'll do Game of the Week on Tuesday.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying for the one coming up, I've been thinking about that. We won't announce it today, but maybe put it in the back of your minds. This game's really good. There's some big changes happening in PUBG. We've got some big changes when with Z1, if we want to check that out. There's a number of games that have come out with some cool content that we could check out. But maybe we'll remake our list that we have, put these new titles in there, get out some of those old titles that are just kind of dying off. And we'll cycle through these games in the next couple of weeks, so people have a chance to play them.
Absolutely. So check it out. It's free. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens? You don't like it?
Give
you
it a try. I think you'll be pleasant. I actually had someone else that I played some other like Scum and things with this past couple of weeks message me, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this game?" It's like, dude, I just started playing it yesterday. He's like, "You want to jump in and play?" He's like, "Yeah." Again, he hadn't really, he just started playing too. But I think it's really surprising people. And it says regional transformation. So it's in predefined regions. And and they actually have, it's crazy how smooth and comfortable, and you feel like everything flows from one thing to the other. I don't feel like that's how it is. There's very much pockets of, if I go to this place in PUBG, I'm going to get something good. If I go to this other place, it's not going to be good. I feel like I can land wherever I want to land. I'm going to get generally geared, and then the zone may close and I may need to run to another zone, but I feel like I'm a good, consistent starting place. I haven't had people aimbotting me. I have had every game that I've played so far has been real gunfights.
Yeah.
Which is something that we haven't seen for a while in some of these other games.
It's definitely nice. There's no doubt about it.
And it does have violence and blood. So it's not a Chinese game. This is a South Korean game. They don't have the same rules. So there's violence, there's blood. So they won't have the restrictions in this games and the weird things that they're taking out because of that. So
yes, and just kind of I guess a little programming note or whatnot. Anything that we don't get to today, since we will have a show coming up here in 3 days. So we'll cover some stuff today, but we'll get to there's not going to be a whole. I don't foresee there being a whole lot of news between. We're recording this on Saturday. It's about 2:00 Eastern between now and Tuesday. So we'll get to the rest of.
And one thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah,
they do put in here very clearly an inspired reimagination of the original Battle Royale movie setting, fueling a truly unique and memorable survival experience. So they're not basing it off of Battle Royale, the game. They're more, here's what happened. And we're taking a story kind of like what we imagined from the movie, and we're making a game based off of that. So it's based off the same movie that PUBG was based off of. But I think this is a much more accurate. I think PUBG was only really, they just had some art and things like that resembled the movie. It didn't resemble the movie.
There was a story that broke, Brian, over the past, it broke within the past day or so, and this is Telltale Games.
Yes.
They're the publisher. I'm trying to remember. They're not developers, correct? They're publishers.
I'm pretty sure that they are developers as well.
Okay,
of the Walking Dead.
Okay.
Or the Wolf. Something Wolf. Let me pull them up really quick.
So
Exact names.
you're right. They do actually develop. So they're the developers of the Walking Dead games. Telltale Games they're shutting down.
They did the Batman series, Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Minecraft Story, and the Game of Thrones series.
So they're the developers of those, and they publish various other games. So here's an update here. Here's the co-founder who was ousted about a year and a half ago, from the company. Says, today I am mostly saddened for the people who are losing their jobs at the studios they love, and also saddened at the loss of the studio that greenlit crazy ideas that no one else would even consider. I'm comforted a bit knowing that there are so many new talented people in studios creating games in the involving narrative genre. They're pretty much closing down their entire studio, according to their Twitter. They say it's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the gaming industry. And it's unfortunate because their games are really niche. Like the Walking Dead games were these
excellent stories,
very heavily driven narrative story games. But I think this is kind of a reality check, Brian. Not for you and I, but just for in general, is you've got to sell copies. I mean, that's it. Why do you think everybody's hopping on the BR craze? I mean, we like to sit here and everybody's making a BR game.
It sells games. People play
games, and at the end of the day, you can love what you do, but if it doesn't sell copies, this is what happens.
Well, so part of the issue on this one though is that I think people want to buy with the Walking Dead series. This is done in chapters, right?
Yep.
They'll have
stories.
The season, and then they'll have stories inside of that season. They've only done the first one, I think, or maybe released the second one, and then they will release over time until December. For me, I want to play that, but I'm going to wait till all 4 out because I'll probably play it in a week. Like I'll play through the whole thing straight and get it done. And so I don't want to sit there and play and then be like, oh, now wait for chapter 2 and then have to wait a month. And then, okay, now I can play chapter 2. Now I have to wait another month and wait. Okay, play chapter 3 and then finally get chapter 4 in December. I'd buy it all at once. And so I think you got a lot of people that are like that. They are going to keep on 25 staff members to finish the final chapter of The Walking Dead.
Well, and,
so that's the one game they're finishing.
And the Minecraft story mode.
Are they actually finishing that one?
Yeah, I read something. I think it was on Reddit or something about that.
Yeah. So
I don't remember where I saw it, but it was something about the Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, they may be finishing that. I just saw it in an article. They directly referenced that 25 people were staying to finish that game because they've got to have all the audio recordings done. They probably have most of the graphics. If it's releasing in a couple months, I'm pretty sure that they would have the the majority of it done. They're just putting it all together. So this is something where
They had 250 employees, by the way.
yeah, most people figured they were successful. Like everybody knew about this publisher.
Oh yeah.
Here, my opinion is, do you know how expensive it is to run a studio and pay all of these employees in the middle of California in a high tech area?
250 of them, and they're not. And there's
250 people
yeah.
where they have to probably almost be paid double the normal salary of other places across the United States. Getting a location is incredibly high. The cost of living is incredibly high. The cost of doing business is incredibly high. These ones where they sit there and they don't see a profit until after a long project, it's hard for them to put out that cost if they don't have some company willing to back them financially and kind of view it as an investment. It sounds like they didn't have that. And so they'd probably just ran out of money.
Now, something that, Bun, this is probably going to be news to you. I'm going to break some news for you right here on the show. I don't know if you've seen this. Telltale was the publisher of, or is the publisher of 7 Days to Die on Xbox and PlayStation.
Console, yes.
Yes. So Joel of the Fun Pimps tweeted out, Telltale shutting down will not impact 7 Days PC in the slightest. Alpha 17 is still coming. It's the biggest, most awesome build, bigger than any DLC and 75% of a sequel, and that's why it's taking so long. It will be worth it. We will go gold in 2019.
All right.
So
he's saying it.
Does that mean when he says we're going to go gold? Does that mean this patch is
They're
not
out of alpha?
So
No, he's saying out of alpha in 2019.
That's
So
going gold.
they'll release alpha 17. They're going to probably have an alpha 18. Maybe to try to show off and do something in less than a year, they'll do an alpha 19 that'll take them out of gold or take them into gold.
Okay.
That's my estimate of because they're probably going to have to put out a quick alpha just so that people don't make fun of them and say it took you guys a year to do your last alpha. I bet you they'll have a shorter, quicker one that will do some of the content they had to drop from this one. Putting that in there, do a quicker alpha, and then probably the one after that, I bet you will be their final one. Because they've got, I mean, what's the point? They're not going to go through and redo all the graphics. Like the game is what it is. It's fun to play, right? But it's never going to be a beautiful game, and I think people understand that. Now, one thing, so what they did that is different with the Telltale on the Xbox is that the console versions have some of the Walking Dead characters in them. The PC does not because of their Telltale relationship. Telltale had some sort of a licensing agreement, right, with the Walking Dead.
Yep.
So they were able to put Michonne and these different characters from the Walking Dead into the Telltale PC or into the console version of 7 Days to Die, and they were not allowed to put those into the PC version. So that's why you'll have certain characters that are different on the console version.
Absolutely.
So kind of weird.
It's a shame. I mean, again, we've talked about this in the past. These are people's lives. These are families. There's a lot of stuff. You're talking about 225 people that are.
It didn't seem like they were being run poorly too. I mean, it's not like you heard.
But boy, Brian, did they have a lot of
were.
Employees. 250 employees. They weren't making that many games. I mean, that's a lot of overhead. 250 employees, Brian, is a lot,
especially in that area.
I mean, they were don't get me wrong, they were working on projects, but 250 employees. I mean, Daybreak at their peak didn't have 200. I don't think Daybreak had 250 employees. I mean, they're managing just as many.
They might have between all their.
Yeah, but I mean,
things.
I just that seems like a lot. I'm no expert in this, but that seemed like a lot of employees for what was.
Well,
coming
they
out
were
of their
counting
team.
on having a certain number of sales of certain titles, and you know what? When you're going off of the thing is they're publishing games that are based off of licenses for temporarily hyped up titles. So you've got
Stranger
Game of
Things.
Thrones. Yeah, you got Game of Thrones, which is a certain niche people audience that really enjoy that care. You know, if that viewership drops, then people aren't going to be buying that. They've lost interest. The Walking Dead has lost a lot of its interest from when they started the title.
Yeah.
Understand that this is in the essence of The Walking Dead. It's not based on that story. These stories were very good. These stories are better than what I think was on The Walking Dead, but people still associate it with that. Minecraft, I mean, Fortnite's out now. I mean, a lot of the 13-year-olds have moved on to Fortnite. Do you think, I bet you Minecraft has lost a lot of its audience.
I play Fortnite. What do you call me? 13?
Well, I mean, but you're not the not the average player.
No, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, no. Minecraft is the hype around Minecraft, which at one point was. I still think it's the most selling game ever. It sold so many copies, but at one point it was that everybody.
These kids were going nuts about it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, everybody played Minecraft. That's what it was.
That's the danger. That's the danger that Telltale, because they're not coming up with their own stories that they can continue and rely on and try to make people interested in purely because of these. They're going off of hype. They're making games based off of hyped up concepts generally. And so they were beholden to the hype of those games or those movies, TV shows, whatever. If they were popular at the time, those games will be popular. But you know what? A lot of those games or their TV shows are losing popularity. Therefore, these games are losing popularity, and it's out of their control.
Yeah, and
that's the risk they paid for.
It's the risk they paid, and a couple of the games. For example, they were supposed to be working on the Stranger Things game, which is based off the Netflix series. That has been canceled, and then everything following episode 2 of The Walking Dead are canceled. As well, so kind of a sad day for the industry. I saw, I think Brendan tweeted about it. Said, yeah, we've got openings at the PUBG Corp. Which, by the way, I didn't realize they have offices for PUBG all over the world.
Yeah,
I realized.
I know they have some near you.
They have got not even that. They've got one in the place I used to live up in upstate New York. I didn't realize they had a team and an office up there, which I didn't know about. So there are openings for that, but yeah, this is that sucks. You got a lot of people affected, and Telltale they made great games, but again, they said they made good content, but it's got to sell. It's got to sell. It's got to sell. It's got to sell.
Yep. Oh well. So we'll see. I assume that's the end of it, but. Well, yeah, who knows? Yeah, I'm surprised that a game that put out such good content, or a studio that put out such good content, that they be closing when we see some studios that are putting out lousy content and they're still out.
It's just about overhead. It's all about overhead, baby.
Yep. I guess this would kind of come down to management. So let's talk a little bit about, there was a delay of a certain title that we've been waiting for. And this is Mavericks. This is one that I'm kind of on the fence about. I have backed it. I'm a founder or whatever I think they call it. But they are delaying the release of Mavericks, The Forge, which was originally supposed to be released Thursday, the 20th of September, which would have been 2 days ago, ahead of a public launch several weeks later. Now founders will get first access to The Forge on Thursday, November 29th. So a month and 9 days, pretty much later than originally expected. They're delaying this. They said they understand this is a huge disappointment to everybody, but it says, we know that we have previously shifted the date for playable content. So believe us when we say it was a hard decision for the team to make. But they'll be, so supposedly here in about a month, just a little over a month, they'll be going through and doing the Forge, where it's kind of like the early access that I paid for, that I was supposed to be getting access to.
I want to thank our friend Toasty Dosty for a couple bits, saying, "Hey, I've not been here in a long ass time." Well, thanks for coming back. Special Saturday show. We'll be back to our regular schedule on Tuesday. Brian, you know what pisses me off about this Mavericks thing? What really pisses me off is I'm looking at the date that this was published, Brian. This date
2 days
changed
before the release.
I mean, are you kidding me? You're telling me on September 18th they thought the game was going to be done in 2 days and then had to delay it almost a month and a half? I hate this. I absolutely hate this, and it makes me not want to trust this company one bit. They knew damn well this game was not going to be ready before September 18th. Why does our industry have this problem? You know who did it right? Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption 2, they delayed the game like a year and a half before it was supposed to come out. They said, hey, we don't think we're going to be done. We're going to push the
thing
delay.
is, they're not flying by the seat of their pants like these studios. I mean, those ones, they know their deadlines. They know exactly what to expect. They know we'll have this content done in this amount of time. They give themselves realistic deadlines. These guys don't.
This is ridiculous. I hate this, and this makes me not want to buy and support the game at all. This is if they do crap like this, which is wait 2 freaking days before release to say, we're gonna have to delay the game by a month and a half because we don't know what we're doing. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
2 days? Give me a. I mean, this is.
I mean, they should have announced
ridiculous.
it earlier because they would have known earlier than this. But they should have just announced it because there's people that, PH points out they did have an AMA on Reddit, but your average person isn't paying attention to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't get this. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I just, that's one thing I don't understand is, okay, so I have some concerns for this game, and I've voiced these from early on. I have some concerns that just looking at some of their content, I think this is more of a novice studio than people are giving it credit for, because they're putting it on the Spatial OS as far as the back end servers for this. And so they go through and I think that people think that this is a AAA studio, and I don't get that from seeing some of their animations and their graphics and all these things that I can see them kind of working out with right now, and just catching it, having done development. Like, I catch these things when I watch their videos. I think that this is a much smaller, less experienced studio than people realize. I think people are expecting this to be released and it be greatly groundbreaking and being the most amazing game that they've ever seen. I don't think it's going to be that. I think that for this studio, I think it's going to be a good game, but I think there's a lot of hype around this, kind of like there was for what was it? No Man's Sky. There was a lot of hype that they didn't at that time have the ability to deliver. I think that these guys' intentions are good. I think they want to make that game, but it'll be interesting if they can actually deliver it. And so I'm on the fence. Like, I backed the game. I'm totally willing to give it a shot. If it doesn't live up to the hype, I'm fine with that, because I haven't put all my money on the table saying, hey, this is going to be the most amazing, groundbreaking game that's going to change the industry. I think this will be a first step in a game actually using Spatial OS, showing the industry maybe that it works or whether it doesn't work. If they prove that it does work, I think we're starting to see larger AAA studios implement this.
This is another soon TM, vague on details, cryptic BS from another game. I mean, that's all this is. I'm looking back at, I'm reading through the Reddit AMA and looking at some of their patches and looking at some of their past correspondence. It's the same damn thing. Soon we're testing this, doing this. I mean,
it's easy to see, but it's tough to implement. And I understand that. Like, all the stuff. Okay, so my concern, and I think I voiced this originally when they first announced, all these things are possible, right?
Thanks, Green Man, for the sub.
All these things are things that could happen, but there's a reason that AAA studios don't even do this, because in practice, it doesn't work. So, okay, you could do fire propagation across the whole map. You could have the whole map catch on fire. But you know what? No computer will be able to do it. It is possible. And maybe the server will be able to say that it happened, but you know what? It'll lag out every computer that's there. I think that all this stuff on paper is correct. You logistically could do this. But I think that they're looking at, hey, here's all the stuff we can do technology wise. Let's implement it all. It'll be interesting to see if they come up with ways. I know a AAA studio, I've been watching some of the stuff from Red Dead Redemption 2 and the stuff that they're going to be doing just in the engine. That's totally cool, pushing the industry. But I think I was discussing this with PH, when they roll that out to multiplayer, there's going to be so much cut back because you can't consistently send all that information over the network to let everybody know all these little changes that you're doing like you do on the single player. I think that these guys, as they're implementing it, they'll realize, oh, you know what? Our average player cannot handle this. We're going to have to cut this back. And they'll have to cut it back closer to what all the rest of these games probably are. Sure, the server will be able to handle all this, but if a person has to have a 5 megabit all the time internet connection consistently, you know what? There's a lot of people in this country that don't have 100 megabits like we do, or 200 megabits. There's a lot of people with 5 and 10 megabit connections that will struggle having a ton of information being sent back and forth. So I don't know. I'm on the, as I said, I'm on the fence. It's good, if they totally blow us out of the water, I'm ready. You know, I'm excited for that. Make it happen. But if it doesn't, like, I'm not putting so much trust like people did with No Man's Sky and saying, oh, this is going to be all that and more. And then when it comes out, being pissed.
I don't like this last minute thing, which is what this was. This was just last minute. Things aren't done. And I get it. Delays happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't like it. It's a very bad way to start. It is already, and they're doing refunds. Like Brian, you said you're a founder of it. They'd allow you to do a refund and whatnot. And that's good. They should be doing that, but it just instantly creates a sense of I don't even know if it's distrust. It's just it just instantly creates this weariness.
Okay, so
that's unnecessary.
Here's my biggest concern, and here's my frustration. I'm sure people that are around our ages understand this. We've got schedules, we got things happening, right? Right now, I could have given this game a test and a chance. Some giant titles are coming out in November.
Yes, sir.
We've got Red Dead Redemption coming out. We have
Call of Duty.
Fallout coming out. We have got Call of Duty coming out. If this game isn't going to blow me out of the water, am I going to waste my time really digging into that game, or am I going to go play these AAA games?
You're going to go play Call of Duty BR, and you're going to be playing Fallout, and
Red Dead Redemption.
And Red Dead, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys have, I think, shot themselves more in the foot because people aren't going to be giving their game the chance. It's just, I don't think that, I don't know if they're looking at it from that perspective. Like right now, there's a lull in a game. People would have gone in and played and checked it out and given it an honest opportunity.
Well, Scum's
they just put
good.
themselves. Scum did it very well.
Was that 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks
They're
ago?
putting themselves in the middle of some of the top 3 titles in the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right in the middle. It's insane to me. It's frustrating. I think they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you've got two of the most successful, 3 of the most successful game titles ever all coming out right around
in the same, like, around a month period of time.
Yeah.
And you're throwing yourself in the middle of that.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Brian. Didn't even think about that.
So because I look at my schedule, it's like I can't sit here and play games all day, right?
Well, I mean, you could.
Oh, I could, but that's not that. I'm first day married and you know all that.
You gotta be an adult and push through.
I gotta do my adulting.
Yeah, how are you gonna podcast all day if you're playing video games?
Yeah, and so for me, I look at it as, okay, I can give myself a certain amount of time because I want to dedicate a certain amount of time to playing each of those titles. I can't throw a fourth in there, and give those the time that I want. It just frustrates me. That's how I looked at it. Instantly, I was like, this just, for me, makes it to where I feel like I won't be able to give that game the time.
Yeah.
And it's honest. I mean, those titles all coming out at that time will truly pull my time. Like, those will be the games that I'm playing.
Well, Brian, on that note, do we want to stop here and then cover the rest of this news on Tuesday's show, which is just a couple days away? Because I don't think there'll be a whole lot of news between now and then. What are your thoughts?
We can actually say because one thing we'll be talking about, and this will give you some time to really get comfortable with it all. We'll be talking about PUBG.
Yep.
Some of the upcoming changes, because there's some pretty cool things happening with that. So also, one thing I wanted to discuss really quickly.
Yes, sir.
Because this isn't super time, but the Division 2, there was something I looked at with the Division 2 that, I liked the Division, the original, as far as the story of it. and kind of going through and playing single player, I didn't really like the multiplayer as much. But one thing that they did announce on this is that the Divisions 2, when they're doing Washington, D.C., it's a 1-to-1 representation of the real city.
That's awesome.
And so for me, my immersion and just, I love feeling like I can go around and like I'm actually exploring. This game, the fact that they're doing that, to me, has a very big draw. Because if you look at Manhattan and everything they did with the first one, it was very much a kind of mini New York, right? Mini area like that. The fact that on this one they're going big and they're like, this is the 1-to-1 representation of the city. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I totally. Have you ever been to Washington, D.C.?
Yes, I have.
Well, so you'll be like, oh man, I've seen this. This is gonna be full immersion.
Yeah, I'll be walking around and be like, hey, this is like a post-apocalyptic version of this. I mean, and my wife really enjoyed playing the Division. She didn't play it for the multiplayer, but she enjoyed playing together. I may have to play this on like PS4 or something and play with her. I just anything I play with her because she doesn't like sitting back here and playing in this room. I have to decide if people aren't going to play it because our group generally doesn't play this together. Yeah. I may do this one on PS4 because I just don't feel like people play it with me. And I'll probably mainly play it for the single player, honestly. So
yeah, that's not I enjoyed the Division, just not not enough. I thought it was all right, but I'm not a big single player guy, and it wasn't. Yeah.
I just enjoyed the story that they told, and I played through it. But then after that, it was like go to the dark zone and do all this. I just didn't. I didn't feel like doing a gear grind. I wasn't about the gear grind of it all.
Yeah,
I enjoyed doing the story. I finished the story, and then that was kind of the end of it for me.
There you go.
So, all right. So yeah, we've got a list of different things that we'll be bringing up on the next one. Some updates that came about, and so I think we'll be good. Let's go ahead and do. Do you have any other stuff you want to do before I go on tip of the week?
No, cool. Quick note: we'll be back live on our regular schedule Tuesday. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. And then so Tuesday show may be a little bit shorter too, since we've already covered like half of our news. But we'll have a regular full show on Tuesday, and then
I do have a really good topic that I've been saving for Tuesday's show.
So that'll be good. We'll have that on Tuesday, and then we should be back to our regular schedule here for the time being as I get everything put back together here and everything gets back to normal with my work schedule and hey, I tell you what, this storm put a lot of stuff in perspective, Brian. I'd never realized how much I appreciate a hot shower and electricity. So, you think about electricity, it's always there when you want it, right? You flip on the light switch, 99.999% of the time it's there, and it wasn't there for a couple days. And cold showers they're fun when you're you're done with the gym and you want to take a cold shower, but when you're dirty because you haven't showered in 3 days because you're in the middle of a hurricane, cold shower's not so fun. Yeah. So it was nice to get all that stuff back to normal.
And this is something that I kind of, for me, is in perspective because my sister and her family, they live in Papua New Guinea, and their power comes and goes. Like the villagers actually get money from the Australian government if they destroy their power lines, because the Australian government has to pay them to be able to come in and repair them. So the villages go and destroy all the power lines, and then the Australian government pays them. I love socialism. Comes in and pays them to be able to be allowed to repair them on their property.
Interesting.
And so power goes out all the time for like a month at a time. And so they live they have the ability to live fully without power for months at a time.
It's pretty messed up.
So it's crazy. For me, I wouldn't know what to do with myself during the day, but
I'm telling you, it was tough. It was like, what am I supposed to do?
What did I do? I'd normally be going and looking on my phone, on the internet. I'd be doing this and that.
Yep. So it was interesting.
Crazy. All right. Very good. So, and then we'll do a normal game giveaway next week.
Yep.
Figured we'll be back on schedule. We'll do everything the normal way again then. But, so this week we'll do tip of the week, where generally, if I give maybe for a specific game or for a general gaming tip, this one's going to be for Ring of Elysium, which we've been talking about a little bit. this is your tip of the week. All right. So in Ring of Elysium, when you start your match, you really need to be mindful of your loadout. You'll notice on the right-hand side, when you're selecting, you'll be able to select from a bunch of squares on the map of exactly what position you start on. But on the right-hand side, when I first started, I didn't realize how much of a difference what I was choosing made. The first time that I picked to have the parachute / hang glider option. But this really has an effect on the way that you're able to play and what you can do throughout the match. So the first one's a parachute or a hang glider. The second one is a snowboard. And the third option is rock climbing gear. So starting out, I would really recommend that you do the snowboard because it helps you to very quickly move around the map. There's pretty much snow across the whole map. And so it's kind of like having an extra fast run boost. You can just pull out your snowboard and go quickly around the map. You know, don't even have to do a vehicle. It's a very unique concept. Haven't seen any other game do something like this in this manner. And actually the snowmobile or the snowboarding physics are very good. It feels like it's not cheap. You remember there was the bicycles they had in that 180 style game where they were really janky and just kind of
Radical
weren't
Heights.
very smooth. Yeah, Radical Heights. You could tell they were kind of tuning them. They would have gotten better over time. This one, the snowmobile physics or the snowboard physics are actually very good right from the get-go. So if you do this, I think you'll have initially a strategic advantage doing that. You may find later that there's certain things you can do with the hang glider that as you really start to learn the game, you're like, hey, I would do better with a hang glider. Maybe you get to a specific location, you get certain gear, or something may happen. Or perhaps with the rock climbing gear, there's a certain zone you can get to or get away from with that rock climbing gear. But I think initially starting out as you're learning the game, the snowboard is that safe option that you'll get a general benefit through the whole game with. To initiate the snowboard, you just hit T and it instantly you jump into your snowboard and you start to move around. It does make it so you move quite a bit quicker. When I was playing a game before, I was with that person who asked me to play with him, and he all of a sudden started moving very quickly and he got really far ahead of me. I was like, he's like, pull out your snowboard. I was like, dude, I don't have a snowboard. And I picked that hang glider option. So it's definitely something that has a big notice. They have a lot of vehicles in this game. They do have snowmobiles and vehicles, a good weapon selection. It's a very good game. I would recommend if you haven't tried Ring of Elysium yet, give it a try. You have nothing to lose because it is free to play. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that it is a very refreshing compared to some of the other games and the problems that we're dealing with it currently on those games. So, but it is a straight up, very balanced BR at the moment. So that is tip of the week.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate everything over the past 2 weeks, doing the solo show and then being flexible on the time. We were originally going to do it tomorrow, we were originally going to do it yesterday on Friday, but I can tell you it would not have been a very, I don't believe I would have been coherent. I at one point I was just like wandering through the grocery store. I didn't even know what I was looking for. I was just very tired. So it wouldn't have been a very good show, but nevertheless, appreciate all your help and support over the past week.
Yep, no problem.
All right. You've got a couple websites. You've got a couple places people can find you on the interwebs. Where are those places?
If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com. Make sure you check out our website, first of all, infectionpodcast.com. We'll have our links to our show notes, and you can just go through, look at any previous show, see video links, links to patch notes, all different things that we discuss. And also we have a link to our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, also our Steam group, which is great if you want to get a notification before the games or the show starts. That way, for instance, today we did a Saturday show. If you would have been at your computer, you got a little pop-up that said we're starting live, and that would allow you to come in and catch the show live maybe when you don't have an opportunity on Tuesday. Also, we've got our audio podcast forms for whatever platform you might be using. If you find that there's a platform that we're not on that you can listen to podcasts on, let us know. It's contact@infectionpodcast.com, or send us a message in Discord. If you have news that you think we should be covering, join our Discord, and in the left-hand menu, you can see there a news channel. It's a great place to post links. PH, he put a lot of, over this past week, news recommendations that we were able to cover. It's a great place that if you have a topic that you don't think we're aware of or covering, make sure you put in that channel, and it allows me to look it over and consider putting it in the show notes for that week. So that is it for me.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. And I'll see you here in just, well, of course, we have a D&D session, which we'll be streaming tonight on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/360 Gaming Live. You can check that out. We start at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Eastern. I think it's
8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock Eastern is when we get started with that. So if you're interested in D&D, you can check out our session. That'll be live tonight. And in just a couple days, we'll be live with episode 193 of Infection. And we should be back on our regular show schedule, time schedule and plan and all that other stuff. So thanks again. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everybody, for being so patient with us rescheduling shows and moving dates around over the past couple of weeks. It was just there literally was not a way to do a show last Tuesday, or 2 Tuesdays ago. Well, 2 Tuesdays ago and last Tuesday. So it's I appreciate everybody's support.
We made it through.
Yes, absolutely made it through, and onward and upward. We're good to go. And hey, longest running survival video game podcast, 192 weeks now in the books, and
on Twitch on Tuesday nights at 7.
At 7. Every once in a while on a Monday, Wednesday, and or Saturday, depending on the schedule. So yes, that is all. I've got to get stuff cleaned up around here. I don't have any. I had to throw everything away in my fridge, so I gotta go shop and get food back and whatnot, and clean everything up.
Get some more ramen.
No, the ramen's fine, but I was thinking last night I wanted to make spaghetti or whatever. I was like, I don't have any
sauce.
I don't have. I had some sauce, but I don't have any Parmesan cheese. I normally have some frozen bread or breadsticks to have on. I was like, I don't have anything. It's a barren wasteland. So, we'll keep all that stuff up and running. Follow us on Twitter @InfectionCast for the latest. And all of that.
And one thing I want to mention really quickly is for the Humble Bundle Monthly is Overwatch.
Oh, that's a great deal.
If you don't own Overwatch currently, it's a game that we throw in our cycle for Game of the Week every once in a while. It's a game that everybody enjoys playing. We don't play it all the time. It does get ragey sometimes, but it is an excellent game. So if you consider doing a Humble Bundle Monthly, that would be a really good one to do. And if you don't have that game, I'm subscribed to monthly, so I'll have a giveaway copy probably.
Ooh, cool.
That I could do at some point. But I think that would be a really good if you do not have Overwatch, even if you're like, oh, that's not the style of game I play, you would have fun playing with us, because as a group, it's fun to hang out and play with everybody and just mess around. So I pretty much just play with our group.
Yes, likewise. Every once in a while I'll load up and play a couple games solo, but that's
but it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to do with the Infection group. So.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Brian.
I just want to mention that because that was something that there's a limited amount of time before the monthly deal ends.
And you can get the link on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Click the support button and then click the red Humble Bundle icon link, and it'll put you in the right place. So, yep. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Infection. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter @NicholasMCraig. Visit our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday. We'll see you Tuesday.